my God, the Beast is back! Brock Lesnar returns at WrestleMania. What do you think, guys? Do you think anybody knew that was coming? Or at any rate, so let's just look at WrestleMania real fast. I was fascinated. That's a strong word to use, and not one that I'm overusing. I find it fascinating. The business model that is WWE. And I got to see some of this. I've always watched, but to really stand back and just look at the parts, the moving parts, logistically, to watch them at WrestleMania this year. And it was amazing. And WrestleMania was even more so than this week because there was something Thursday, they played, or they had SmackDown Thursday, they had something Friday. Saturday, Sunday was Mania. Monday, right back to Raw. I mean, it was just live TV one after the next. It's a very difficult thing to do, and I found it to be a very interesting thing to do. But as I looked at SummerSlam, that was one of my biggest takeaways as well. Now, from an entertainment standpoint, from just the nuts and the bolts. And wrestling is very interesting from a standpoint that the people that are in charge, and they're doing a fantastic job. They're really taking a company, right? If you're a shareholder, you love these guys. But the ones that understand the least are those guys. Like we're getting this product that is not the product that the audience wants. It's one that the audience have to take. They have to take. There's only one option. And they have made believe this is what the audience wants. Now, I only share that with you. Wrestling is very unique in that a relic can still be relevant and headline. I mean, the fact that Brock would come out and this is the biggest talk of Mania, it's not that Brock has been sidelined or that you guys loved Brock or that Brock could let his hair grow. It wasn't the F5 and it wasn't the run-in. At the moment, there was something very special about somebody that you could have that kind of nostalgia with, right? I mean, you guys go back with Brock to 2001? That sound about right? To 2002? When it was over 20 years. Some of you guys, that was your entire childhood. You understood for another generation of us where that was such a blow when Hogan was gone. But the opportunity to see him, or Ric Flair, just for example, The Rock can still show up and do WrestleMania, but that is one thing about wrestling. And I think wrestling would be in a better place, by the way, and I think what the audience would really like, by the way, then you'll never know, so don't weigh in on this. You don't know yourself. The last person you would ever want their opinion on what we should do at a sporting event is the people that are actually watching it. But I'm just sharing, like when I watched Dominic Mysterio, when I watched Gunther, I mean, these are representatives of the next generation, and I don't know that I fully agree with holding them back just because we can squeeze a little bit more juice. And it is one thing that is unique in wrestling. I mean, we had a relic in Brock run in and squash a relic in Cena. When at the end of the day, it's not believable that either one of those guys could defeat in a shoot the other guys on the roster. Now, I'm not complaining. I'm just sharing with you. That's interesting. Because, right, in other sports, if you want to sell some tickets or you want to bring people in, you can't just go suit up Joe Montana. It's something that's unique to wrestling. It's something that you guys find cool about wrestling. It's something that can only be done within wrestling. But it doesn't change the narrative that are those guys the most over guys on the contract. Could they get themselves there? Could they do that? That's hard to believe. And that isn't the writer's job, by the way. I'm not complaining about the creative control of wrestling. I'm speaking to the idea that Gunther, who is one of the best wrestlers, before you get into what a wonderful performer he is, just a straight up technician, a Kurt Hennig Not quite a Bret Hart or a Seth Rollins, but he's right there. Gunther's right there. Just from the athletics, before you get into what a wonderful performer he is. But Gunther does need to understand from a human standpoint, he's got to get out there. The Rock, who will still headline WrestleMania. If Gunther looks at it now and goes, okay, but I just want you to understand the psychology. If Gunther looks at it now and goes, all right, that guy's over, and by the time I'm 50, I'll get this same respect. This is how we do it around here, and you take your time and you put your time in the road. Then Gunther would be studying one end of the story. He wouldn't look back to the time that The Rock was 24 and said, no, give it to me now. And The Rock had to take it. He had to take it from the Bret Harts, the Ric Flairs, Macho Man Savage, Hulk Hogan. The Rock did not look at it and say, my time will come. And I'm just sharing, like, there is a psychology behind it. Gunther should not be standing back to these guys. He shouldn't. Gunther should not be prior on a card. And Cena's got something very unique going, right? Just in that he's his final year, whatever this current scam is. But it is a little bit unique. And it's a little bit hard to get over on that. But that doesn't mean you don't have to find a way. And the same goes for Dominic Mysterio. Like, I do see a real talent here who is happy to be part. And again, I would just remind them, the guys that you wanted to be like, the guys whose careers you came in to follow, were not guys that had to go put 30 years in and they got a moment in the spotlight. The Rocks, even bring Hulk Hogan into it now, right now. Bill Goldberg, without a level of skill, the only thing that he brought to the wrestling world, but he made it work, which was an attitude that I'm going to make it work. You are going to believe in me. And it's a big deal. It really is a big deal. Dominic and Gunther, just to use them specifically. Gunther goes down and has a good match. He gets a push off of Goldberg, but then it's a start and stop, and that push over Goldberg is just enough to get to a match that you're then going to lose, and you're going to lose to a guy that's going to lose to another guy. I mean, you got to understand, Gunther didn't just lose once that night. He lost twice. If you lose to a guy and that guy gets stomped out by another guy, both of those guys have now beaten you, and I got to look at Mysterio in the same way. Like, I see a real talent there. But I also see a person. I don't want to see the person. That he's got to quit showing me the person. When I look at Dominic, I see a guy that can grab this torch and run with it. And he's going to, eventually. Why wait? What are you waiting for? Even if you go over or not, you go over or not in a co-main event spot. It never happened. Nothing happened. I mean, nothing happened. Other than Cody and Cena, which gets a run with Brock. Punk and Gunther gets a run from Seth. I know they don't see it this way, but it's the truth. And in that business, if you want a main event, particularly on a bunch of old men, Cena can barely stand up straight. Right? He's literally to the point where his body is hunched over. He's a little old man. You cannot be accepting of a co-main event spot with a dude who's balding. You can't do it. And the only reason that Dom is in that spot, and the same reason that Gunther is in that spot, is they don't know how to speak up behind the stage. Well, that's the entire business, guys. Your drop kick is no more special than anybody else's. Neither is your clothesline, your back body drop, or your walkout, or your music. None of it is. But your attitude for shoot is that of somebody who's complacent. Brock's back. SummerSlam's over. It was a good weekend.